Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's another episode of the Elon Podcast. I'm Mark Rose with Kiera and Ellie, and today we're going to talk about self-improvement and where we are. So it's just a little chat. We're just going to see where we are, a little check-in. And yeah, so how's everybody?
Doing good, doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Grateful and thankful.
I'm
Yes.
grateful and thankful. I love that. Me too. Gratitude. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about self-improvement. Like, how's everybody doing? Like, what is that to you? Like, what is that to everybody right now? What is self-improvement? Like, Ellie, let's start with you.
I would say that self-improvement is like it's healing from things that you didn't let go of in the past, whether that be from trauma, arguments, resentment, whatever of any kind. Um, Self-improvement is being able to stay in the present moment and focus in on the goal to accomplish or whatever that may be. Even if there is no goal in mind, it's just actually being very in the moment with all five senses. Um, I feel like self-improvement for me on a personal level is both of those things I just named, but more so right now being able to like look at my story by writing who I am and see what knowledge I'm stacking on top of the story so that it's all aligning and building and going somewhere. That's really important for me on a personal, spiritual, mental, and I guess like 3D world work level. So just being able to make sure there's growth in the journey of like the knowledge that we're receiving. So that's big for me right now. So like, and also being able to like understand the story I'm telling of myself and being very careful with the words that I choose to tell, share my existence. Cause like I've always been at a loss for those words. Not really sure where to start because it seems like as humans we harp on the negative parts of ourselves versus like who we are, the makings of us. We single out the things that hurt us the most versus the things that actually help grow us. So yeah, stackable knowledge and mental clarity.
Mm.
No,
Wow, you just like dropped a lot of stuff.
I can't go after that.
Girl, like what?
Oh my gosh, no, that was so good. No, but you really spoke. I'm like, well, damn. I mean, that's how I'm feeling like about like life about self-improvement. But no, I agree with everything that you said. It's about stacking
Yes.
like that knowledge and like for me right now, self-improvement is okay, reflecting, self-exploring, and just knowing who I am to my core and what I've been learning. Why are you smiling?
And love you.
You're silly. Okay, but we're silly, but no, seriously, with self-improvement, it's like I feel like we're always growing, and in life we have different stages of who we are. Stop looking at me.
Okay, the video's
Turn
got
your camera off. Okay, guys who aren't watching the video, I can't deal with Ellie, so Ellie had to turn the camera off so I can speak because I cannot speak without laughing. Okay, but on a serious note, guys, I'm sorry. But self-improvement for me right now is just knowing who I am and what I mean and what I say, and like standing those grounds and knowing my boundaries. I feel like in life, a lot of people don't really know when I say like who you are. I feel like, there's social media, there's the internet, and there's like a lot of us, of course, we all have like little insecurities, this, that, and the third. But like what you said, Ellie, in terms of speaking on those things of like, a lot of people speak on the negatives more than the positives, and we can easily get so distracted to where we're giving more focus to the negative. So I'm just making sure that, hey, I'm like loving myself, showing gratitude to where I'm at, because I do understand in life, it can be hard when you're just trying to like survive, do your thing, and the lifestyle or life that you want, and you're trying to build to that. but in the 3D realm of things, it's kind of like it seems like it may not be matching, but you have to also look back on your growth where you are, even if it's just 3 days ago, 4 days ago, a week ago, and say, hey, cool. I mean, I'm better than where I was. Maybe last week I had like a bad day, but guess what? I got through it. I'm another day, another week, month, whatever, closer to my dreams and goals and aspirations. And yeah, it's really just for me, it's just my mindset, just making sure that I just pump up myself and I know my vision and what I want, because I feel like if you don't know what you want and you're not clear about that, then whatever everyone believes in, whether it's like God, consciousness, universe, etc., I feel like you're sending out mixed signals. So I'm just making sure that I'm improving myself. So I'm staying in line with my vision of where I want to go and what I want to do. So I'm not, deterring any of that. Okay, Ellie, you can turn your camera back on. I'm good. Hey. All right, Kira. Oh, Kira.
Um, self-improvement is literally, it's just what it is. You're improving, working on improving yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, enjoying the journey, because life is a journey, and something that Ellie said is just kind of growth in the journey. Paying attention to what you're doing, what can you get out of this, how can you improve, and just working on that every day.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like right now in life, that's what it's all about for like a lot of people, is improving how they feel about themselves, what they want, and being clear on that, especially after the pandemic and stuff. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I just feel like there's like this huge shift to where everyone wants like happiness and peace, and they want to figure out what that means. And there's like a lot of people who they're still just kind of like in their old stagnant ways, and they haven't learned anything from what we've gone through like the last few years. But I don't know. I just think that it's all about being our best selves, because like if you can't love yourself, you can't be your best selves, you can't show up for other people, then how are you going to maneuver in life, So it's like we all have to just do our best to be our best self so we can show up and just have a grand time. But I've been talking like a lot about having a lust for life. Like I think we just all need to wake up every day and be like, okay, what am I happy about? Like what am I lusting about in life? Like this is a beautiful world. Like go out and observe the trees, the sky, smell some flowers, go on a walk, and show appreciation for the world. And I feel like we get so consumed with like technology and too much, and social media too much, to where it just kind of distracts us. And it's like, guys, there's a bigger picture. And I understand, like, there's so much going on in the world that can be bad, but there's also good. So it's like, how do you find that yin yang below?
I think the pandemic definitely gave everyone, or I won't say everyone, but a lot of people, a glimpse of what life could be like. If I didn't have to go in the office every day, I can work from home. I have more time with my family. I actually love spending time with my family. I can talk to my friends more, hang out with my friends. I can be more creative. A lot of people started their own businesses or just did something fun for themselves. So it's nice to be able to tap into that and just kind of see like, okay, this is what I want out of life now.
I agree. Oddly, like for me, everyone's pandemic was different. For me, like my job, like, they still paid us. So I was very fortunate on that aspect. So I can't even say anything bad for me. I know not everybody had those same circumstances, unfortunately.
Right.
So, that's why like I feel like I really showed like a lot of appreciation, and I really observed from like what I saw with other people who didn't have that. And then, it's like trying to depend on the government. I'm just trying to figure out,
Mhm.
they couldn't work. So it's like, how are you gonna like do that? Figure out how are you gonna pay for things, this, that, and the third. So I don't know. It's just like for me, it was like I had time to really express myself, slow down, be more creative, which was good,
Yeah.
and be more observant of what was going on in the world. And so like now where we're at now, it's just like that's why I feel like I really just I don't know. I just really want everybody to be good because it is like, that was like a time to where like you don't know what's gonna happen. And we have to make sure that we take care of ourselves and our families and just the people we love, and we have to hold each other tight and just do what we got to do to grow and have a better world. So that's what I feel like I'm about. I'm just like right now, I just want to self-improve to be my best self. So I don't know, sharing my story or sharing what's been helping me in life. Hopefully that can help someone else, mentally get through things.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah. Self-improvement, guys. Is just be your best self. Just figure out those little things that help you be good. Like for me, I like to walk, meditate, write, have some time to be creative just to get my mind. But that's different for everybody depending on what you like. Like Kira, what helps you feel like better? Like what like helps you cut out distractions and just feel better about yourself and just I don't know.
Sleeping.
Naps are good.
Let me see. Honestly, I know it sounds basic, but sleeping really. I am so busy, I feel like. So anytime I can just like take time to just sit and rest, lay in my bed, even if I'm not actually asleep, but just laying there, kind of reflecting on the day, what I have going on, dozing off. That centers me.
I feel that. And I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, it's so refreshing. How about you, Ellie? What do you like to do that helps you just feel better about yourself and improve and just get you away from the daily, turmoils or whatever of life?
I like self-care. I really like to do like, you know, skincare things. Like also like, besides sleeping yesterday, I nared everything. I shaved every part of me I could, and like I really just took my time doing my like making sure my hair was like cleansed and stuff like that. This was like the first time I washed it this week. Um, which was good though, because it needed to like, sit in its own.
Mhm.
So it can grow. And left it alone a much of the week and just a revitalization. I enjoy that. Like that agua, fresh, like feel I really enjoy that. It makes me feel alive. It makes me feel beautiful. I like doing things that make me feel beautiful. And sleeping is definitely one of them too. Sleeping beauty, honey. We need those 8 hours. We need
When you
them.
said Aqua, I was thinking about Pinata, the City Girls' new song. I'm sorry. I love that. She's like Aqua. I'm sorry.
Dope song though.
I love that. But I'm so silly, guys. I love me some JT.
Me too. And your Miami.
Yeah, Miami, I'm single and I'm Pringle. I remember that, Kiara. Have you ever saw that video? She was like on a yacht and she's like cheering. I think this was after she like left. She wasn't dating like I think her daughter's dad or something, and she was on a yacht and
Yes.
like cheers in your Miami being single and Pringle. And so, it was.
I do remember.
We but no, guys, I don't know. I'm just looking at the trees through this window right now, and I don't know. What are you guys excited about this upcoming week?
Not this week, but next week is Juneteenth.
Woo!
Power to the people.
Big purr, big purr. Juneteenth.
Yes.
I'm excited about that too.
Yes.
Like,
Sing it.
screw slavery. F slavery.
Yes.
Like, we got to be proud. I'm so happy. Like, wait, are you doing anything? Are you guys doing anything? That's on a Monday.
We're doing like stuff at work or whatever. I don't know like what that's gonna all entail, but we're just like have a chill day at work that day.
Yeah.
Nice.
I really don't know what that's gonna entail. I hope
That could be really good or really bad.
right. Like if they bring in a bunch of watermelon and chicken, I'm gonna eat it, but I'm gonna judge them afterwards. I'm gonna send that letter to corporate. How dare you?
That makes me think of that White House celebration when I think it was Juneteenth. I don't know. It was something, but they were all dressed in African garments and they were doing some kind of dance.
Oh
And
yeah,
I
we're
was
still
like,
pushing the story, right?
huh?
We're still pushing the story that we're from Africa.
Maybe.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I just heard what you said. Ah,
We're still pushing the story we're from Africa. Okay. Yeah, my family's not African. They're Native American and West Indian. But that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, we're gonna have a conversation about that. We will have a lot of that will be a really good conversation. We'll talk about that.
Mhm. Like we just all came from that boat from Africa. Oh God.
okay, but when Raven Simone said this, nobody laughed.
Facts. Facts. Shout out to Raven. She said, I'm not a Black American, I'm an American. The world went in rage. I totally understood what you said, and I was just like,
I knew what she meant too.
Me too.
I know how it came off, but she didn't mean it. She was
Mm.
just saying, like, I don't know that side. I grew up here in America. I'm Black. This is what I know.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Americans. It's like, I mean, I've had like Africans basically just call me an American and it is they don't like
so
yeah, it's all they insulted me. I was like, because for me, I'm just like, oh, you black, I'm brown, like we the same. And then they're just like, no. Like, oh, okay.
yeah, that created equality. There was like, we are lost people who do not know who we are. And obviously, it was like, who walks around calling the people Black? Americans.
Yeah. That's why we have an issue now in the world.
Oh well.
I just don't like, I was talking about this the other day. I was like, I don't like the whole, I don't like when people like to use general stances for like one thing, you know what I mean? Or one race, whatever it is. Because there's just be like, so I remember like before, like, you know, white people ask me like, so do black people something? And I'm like, some black people do. This black person doesn't. So just like, you know, just stuff like that. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like as a nation, we really all need to just educate each other on cultures, where we're from. We all need to like dig deep if we don't know where we're from in history, but we do live in an age to where they're now like taking books out of school. So it's like
So sad.
yeah, so it's like nobody like who's gonna know what history is, what their heritage is,
I'm
what
gonna
is
tell my kids, and I'm gonna tell them to spread the word
right
after school.
exactly.
Maybe not that, because I don't want them to get in trouble.
Oh my gosh, Kira, how many kids would you want to have?
No more than 3.
No more than three? Oh my gosh. Ellie, would you want kids?
Hopefully he already has them.
Huh?
He already has them, and that's not a bridge I have to worry about crossing.
Um,
I
okay.
mean, I'm open to it, like, but it would have to be like a very right situation. Like, we're both at that phase in life where he doesn't have any, I don't have any. Okay, well, I guess we're gonna figure out this whole adoption or surrogate mother thing. So,
Yeah.
or not. We just live our lives and be happy,
Yeah,
I'm
there's nothing wrong with
okay with
that.
either. This is a crazy, crazy world. I don't know
Yes,
if kids.
I think about that all the time. I'm like, people really made it a trend to shoot at elementary schools. Do I want to have a kid?
gosh.
Like I'm really hoping, like the way Dan Coe said, the engineering of the way the school and education systems will start going, it'll be individualized more so. I'm really hoping that's the direction that things go, and that, like that what happened over the pandemic, I'm really hoping that's the direction the educational system goes, so we don't have to worry about that.
You know,
Because
it's the way that education is going right now. It's like I'm not gonna lie, like if I had kids, they would be not in that sense, just where we are now. I don't want to sound like the parent who's like, I want to homeschool my kids because I would want them to be around other people and socialize. But I don't know. It's like I don't
I know.
thinking about where I went to school in high school. Like I'm not gonna lie, I didn't learn stuff that I needed to learn. I'm gonna be honest. So I want my kids to learn what they need to learn. I feel like a lot of stuff's going digital. Well, I say my kids. I don't think I'm having kids. No. I like to be the uncle and the goddad. I love my babies like that. We're gonna spend some time. I'm gonna send y'all back to your moms and to the next time. And that's just how it is. But no, I would I feel like I would be a good parent in terms of doing my best because nobody's perfect. I don't think there's like a perfect parent. It's like you're
There
figuring
isn't.
it out. I feel like I would do my best to understand, make sure I emotionally understand my kids and let them communicate with me. I feel like I would be a good parent in terms of like that. But for me, I feel like I would kind of worry about my kids in terms of like their safety. Like I would know that at some point I have to let them be. I'm not gonna bother them. But it's just the world is crazy and I don't want to get no call about, hey, your kid or like this, that, and the third, or I don't know.
Oh, like why? Not hey your kid. Hey your kid what?
You already know, like, yeah,
My
it's
heart
like
would drop.
anything, and I don't
Yeah.
have time for that. So anybody who has kids, it's beautiful, I guess, for us to like to add to this world, and I like commend anyone who wants to have kids and instill in them like great morals and just instill in them like good morals of like being their best selves, adding to the collective in a positive way. And I commend every parent who does that. But for me, like the only way would be like if there was like some weird situation to where like I don't know, like a kid's needed like a parent or we're there. I don't know, like one of those weird sitcom type of situations. Then I could deal. I could have a kid, but just no, it's just too much for me. I don't want to have to worry about.
It's a lot. It would definitely be a lot of worrying.
You know.
I don't know. I was thinking about recently, like how like when you have a kid, like looking at yourself growing up in schools and public systems, that's still a preview of how your world will could be displayed to you when you step outside of school. And I wasn't very much so fond of my experiences back then. So I make it my due diligence to make sure I'm really walking into who I'm supposed to be and on a daily basis now, so that like I'm reaping everything that I've sowed along the way in the
Mhm.
best way possible, because if the world if that was a microscopic depiction of what the world is, it's really sad. If my high school and college collegiate experience it was a microscopic depiction of what the world is, I'd be heartbroken if I took that for face value. Because I mean that's a lot of ignorance. There's a lot of people like in school still didn't know who they were and what they were doing, me included at the time. So I think it's all just a journey, and like how much time is actually spent learning, comprehending, and regurgitating and practicing, so you can actually see how you're growing and what you're doing to grow. I feel like the things that we're doing with this podcast are like very basic level necessities that we should have learned throughout elementary, middle school, and high school, and like built upon these skill sets. But instead, we're like backtracking and having to like develop these skills and like scrape up through memory and skill sets what we did learn along the way to understand who we're becoming, to like really put that on paper, to really put that into like develop words, thoughts, and actions for the public, for ourselves to be able to look back on and use. So I don't know. I think that the school system's a joke, definitely now. I could say that. And I could say that like I'd probably be able to do a lot better with raising my own kids on my own and like educating them and putting them through lessons that they could like actually use on a daily basis. Like we're not really taught anything but to be good employees, and I just don't think that's fair to the human existence.
Mm, yep. That's what we're taught is like to go to school, be an employee, work for someone, be in debt, and the show goes on. Like they don't really that was always like my issue with school is the fact, especially being like a creative. I always like knew growing up, like especially if I didn't connect with the subject or the teacher or what they're talking about, I'm writing in my journal, I'm writing a story, I'm visualizing, I'm like this like because I feel like a lot of times they pick what they want you to be skillful at. They don't really like want to like connect with you and say, hey, this child, what are your interests? What are your skills? What are you trying to build towards? And I do understand that when you have so many students, it's hard, but it's like we now need to make sure that
But
everyone,
you know what? They have guidance counselors. I feel like that should be more of their role, but they weren't doing that.
They weren't doing that at all.
I agree, not at all.
Uh,
Honestly, I wish I've never been to a guidance counselor. Honestly, my experience looking back would have been way better if I had a guidance counselor on a regular to really formulate like a lot. I wish I had a guidance counselor now, looking back at it.
I was in like an advanced English class, I think in 10th grade. And so, or sorry, 11th grade. So I think in 12th grade, we had the option to like leave school early or take a college credit class. So I opted to not take the college credit class.
Hmm.
Well, one, because I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And then two, I mean, I was a kid. I wanted to go home early. And so my guidance counselor said, you're not going to get in a good college if you just decide to do that.
Yeah,
She was wrong, obviously, but that was like the extent of the counseling I got.
I get what you're saying. You know what? I know what you're saying because technically we had a guidance counselor into my senior year before, like, graduating. It was like the only time I spoke to the guidance counselor or whatever there. But yeah, I remember she told me, she was like, it was something about like school or college. She was like, you'll never get into the school or something, this, that, and the
Mhm.
third. I was like, well, if I wanted to, I could, you know.
Right.
Like sometimes, I don't know. I don't feel like they don't know how to encourage you, or
Yeah.
they
It's
don't know.
kind of like what you were saying earlier, asking, well, what are your interests? What do you like to do? What are your skill sets? What do you think you need improvement on? Like anything. But it was just well, you're probably not going to get in anywhere, whatever.
Yeah, and also think about like the guys, like the people, like the plumbers, the people who like to do hard work, like country
Hmm.
guys are just guys on manual labor. There are kids who know from like a young age that they want to work hands on
Yeah.
certain things that they need to know the general things like how to speak to people in English, and I understand math can help them and stuff like that. But there are certain things to where I remember like people would call those kids like, oh, you're stupid or you're dumb, or the teachers will be mad at them for not doing good. And they're not doing good because it's nothing that they're passionate about. And I'm sorry,
Right.
they don't like in school, you can't expect kids all the time to pay attention to something that they're just genuinely not passionate about.
Yeah.
because
And
the
I
standard
don't like how the system like kind of looks down on blue collar jobs.
Hmm.
should be highlighted even more.
Yeah,
Those are the skill, those are the trades that these kids learn where they don't have to go to college and they can go straight into
exactly.
the workforce, which absolutely changes their direction and outcome of life because they don't have this huge debt over their heads. They're able to, if they seek the knowledge on how to utilize their finances to live
Mhm.
abundant life, if that's what they want to live. But a lot of them don't. They choose to end up like working themselves into the ground because that's all they know.
Yep.
America has proven itself over and over again to be a corporation and not a country of strong value to me.
Right. And then
Agreed.
it's like parents who, are working, trying to survive and take care of them, who, they're already in that cycle of not knowing what they want to do. And all they know is to tell their kids, like, are you doing your homework? Are you doing this? Are you doing this right? This, that, and the third. And making some kids that just get overly consumed and stressed about all of this, or like, am I going to do right? Am I going to do wrong? And then it creates so many issues. And,
Mhm.
this is a whole generational cycle. You can't even sometimes blame your parents or the grandparents. It's just, that's why it's important in the now for us all to be aware as a collective in terms of like, okay, cool. How do we finally change? And especially with books being taken out of school, with history, this, that, and the third. I think the time is now to like everybody communicate. How do we change things in life? How do we make things better? How do we make every kid and everybody felt seen and heard? How do you live your life? Because also it's like a lot of people who are angry and spew hate every day, they don't know themselves because they live in these systems that we were taught every day. And they're waking up every day with the same cycle, doing the same stuff. We all know how it goes of living these lives and doing these jobs that we don't want to do, that we're not satisfied with. But, some people don't know how to find that desire or passion. A lot of people do, a lot of people don't. And then that's the issue. And then they just go in a cycle because they think that's how it goes and they accept that. And then here we are.
Mhm.
And accept that it's truth, and it's not the truth. It's just the truth that they want you to perceive. And I feel like the standards in school aren't really standards to anyone else in this real world that we live in. There's nothing that can help you in the school system. It's like really junk on your brain that gets you away from the things that we really should be focusing on, like the things that we find ourselves doing right now as we build with this community of ours. I think that these are the things, the fundamentals of life that every human has the divine right to have and should have as the foundation of their very much so being, no matter if you are a manual worker or no matter if you are, you know, working in finances. These are fundamentals for the human to live an abundant life and be at peace. But yet we have all this mental dysphoria, all these issues because everything's work, 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 nothing's, and every time there's something that we're supposed to do for ourselves, it's commodified in America to be sold back to us and it being a privilege instead of it being a part of our everyday life.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, this is something I definitely want us to come back on and talk about more in depth. But yeah, so that was just like a little chat today, self-improvement, history, boats, just a lot. So we wish everybody well per usual. We love you guys. This is a space where we want you to feel comfortable, to learn new things, believe in yourself, and just be your best self. So this is the Elon Podcast Live. Everyone, thanks for listening. And until next time, keep being